Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Ears to the East, where we're going to be discussing a topic that I don't think we've ever discussed before. And this is kind of interesting because my two colleagues here have no idea what we're going to be discussing. And if you've clicked on this video, you'll know that we're actually reacting to three songs. We're going to be giving our opinions on three songs. These two haven't heard these three songs yet. So, what I'm going to do
Apparently.
before
Yes, well, apparently. Apparently
before
it's
I
so
give
out of our comfort zone that you are sure we haven't heard it.
Well, this is what I'm interested about. Is I don't know. Well, I'm going to be intrigued to know whether it is out of your comfort zone or not. But one of the big reasons is for anyone who's clicked on this video will know that this subject has maybe got some preconceptions tied in with it, and that's what I'm intrigued to know. So I'm going to say a word to you guys, and I just want to know what your response is, because if I thought about this word before, I know what my response would have been. What do you? What is your initial response to the word VTuber? There it is.
Actually, I connected with good music because I don't watch VTubers and I just know some artists that are VTubers that make good music.
So you know some VTuber artists. Okay. So
Yeah,
I'm just going to start with
couple.
you on this one, Benedikt. What can you name any sort of like VTube music you might have heard before?
I know, for example, Hoshimachi Suisei. I'm not exactly sure how she's called. But I actually really like her music and also Ado, obviously. I think you could call her a VTuber
Yeah.
artist as well, right?
That's an interesting topic that we're going to probably get into when we do the review, because I
Okay.
wouldn't say that she counts as a VTuber so much. But that's going to be an interesting comparison that we're going to come back around to. Okay, so you know Suisei, which is interesting because one of the songs you're undoubtedly going to already know then, which is going to make this even more interesting. All
Okay.
right, so Neon, from your perspective, what do you know, if anything, or what are your opinions when you hear the word VTuber? What do you think?
I just feel individual artists that aren't signed, really, to be honest. Like Benedict, some of the VTuber stuff is incredibly good, and incredibly solid. I must admit that me personally, I don't tend to pay attention too much to VTubers, probably as much as other people, for a plethora of different reasons. One, because I feel like VTubers just do cover songs, as good as that is. Um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's yeah, cover songs are cover songs a little bit too much, and as a reactor as well, half my job is to, like, obviously to react to new artists and new songs and stuff. And sometimes if you react to a VTuber that's doing a cover song, it doesn't quite get the traction. I'm not saying that there isn't people out there, because there are massive VTubers that do cover songs that have millions and millions and millions of listens. So it's not like it's not a popular thing. Just I personally haven't really dipped my toe in. I've had a lot of requests from YouTubers before, and I know they are insanely popular, but me myself, not really one of that world, to be
I
fair.
th I think the cover thing you mentioned is really interesting, because a lot of the time when like a popular song comes out, and if you type that popular song into YouTube and it comes out of Japan, immediately there'll be like 1,000 VTuber covers that have appeared, like sort of creeping us, bling blam blam blam. Every single VTuber did a version of that. Yoasobi's Idol is VTuber versions of that. There's even some VTuber baby metal songs, which is not what I'm going to give you this time, but there are some
Well,
VTuber baby metal covers out there, which will, I'm sure, cause these two massive baby metal fans to maybe have a little bit of questioning of her. But no, I mean, so so aside from the music, then I think you both had more knowledge of that than I expected. I'm kind of intrigued as well, because a lot of what we're going to listen to here is probably going to raise some questions about what the actual VTuber thing is. So I'm intrigued. What do you actually know about VTubers outside of music? And do you, because I basically, when I first heard this of VTubers for a while, all of my preconceptions were based on things like you heard about these stories of, like, middle-aged women in like China, or guys who were just sort of like put on a cute face and then pretending to be a character,
Yeah.
and then their thing went wrong and everyone was like, what the fuck? That was kind of the image of what I had as a VTuber being for like the
I have to
longest
admit,
time.
since hearing a lot of these stories, it's kind of always swinging with, like, is it really?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It was
Yeah.
I've seen the VTuber fuck up reels on YouTube. I know it.
Mm,
I know it happens.
yeah, exactly. So I think that's something as well. Like when we're talking about preconceptions, that's something that comes into mind. And one of the reasons I wanted to tackle this with you guys is because I feel like we've talked about so many worlds in music. We've talked about idol music, which actually has a lot in common. We've talked about approaches to like metal, to pop, all these things where we're always talking about having gone over a certain threshold, looking back and going, oh, well, it's interesting. Imagine being on the outside and not understanding this world, not understanding Japanese music. What would you think of baby metal if you didn't know what baby metal was, and these kind of conversations. So I feel like this is the one area where I feel like I recently got brought into this world by a few people. And I feel like you two have maybe not dipped your toes far into it. So I'm intrigued to make this a first experience and see if I can give you music which will tingle your curiosities.
In what ways?
He wants to tickle my pickle.
Why does everything become sexual on ears to the
maybe to answer
hey, I was talking about pickles, man. I don't know what you were thinking of.
Why does everything become vegetables on ears to the ears?
No, but maybe to answer your first part of the question, what I know about VTubers or like this VTuber realm, I think about Hoshimashi Suisei. I saw some videos that they have like a group of people also which do similar things. There was another artist, I cannot think of the name. I heard another one. Sorry, what did you say?
Do you know the name of the company that she works for?
I knew once. I cannot think of it right now, but I know
Begins with an H. Begins with an H. Fair enough. So
H.
Yeah,
it's called H.
Yes, well done. How did you guess? Okay, well, I'm not going to give you guys too much information because I get the feeling you're going to probably pick up a lot from watching these 3 songs. And what I really want to do is I want to give you these 3 songs, which I feel cover a fair range. Like I say, I'm fairly new to this, but I've been very intrigued by what I found in this rabbit hole very early. And so I'm going to try and give you guys 3 interesting things, which I think both represent 3 different styles of music, but also show an I think these are 3 incredible videos for 3 very different reasons. So I'm intrigued to see what you guys think, what part of your pickle is tickled by the artistic works that I'm going to hand you guys. And we're going to reconvene to film the next part of this that you guys are going to see at home just in a second. There's going to be a gap between these, but you're going to see in a moment. I'll skip to the bit after they've heard the songs, and then you can see what their thoughts are. So hold on. I'm going to give them the songs now. Welcome back, gentlemen, and welcome back, audience, where you've now heard the 3 songs. So we had one song was by Fubuki, which was her latest song at time recording. Quite much more of a heavy J-rock style song. The second one was Bibidi-ba by Suisei.
The name?
Bibbidi-bobbidi-boo. Bibbidi-bobbidi-boo. That's what you need to call it, Bibbidi-bobbidi-boo. And then the third one was the song by SAKURA MIKO and KORONE, who did a song together. We're going to be talking about all 3 of these. Let's start with the first one, which was the Fubuki song. I gave that one to you guys because recent song, also leaning a little bit more into the J-rock directions, and very interesting video in my opinion. So what did we think about that?
Do you want to know about the video or the song first?
You start where you want to start. We've opened this floodgate of new worlds to you. So
Well,
jump
I
in.
have to say, like, the video immediately reminded me of Hatsune Miku, that stuff, because she also did like concerts where she has like this hologram look about her. I'm not sure how they do it actually.
Is this just because I
Um,
told you that the H word was Hololive in the space?
no, it actually kind of looked like it, but my
Mm,
animator brain immediately saw, it looked, they had a really strong grain effect over the whole video, which I think is to make it fit more together with the real life imagery. I'm guessing everything is a real recording except for her.
that's
We
what I
wanted to talk
established,
about
yeah.
it. Is it like actually her and then they animate it over, or because I think usually how whole body VTubers do it is they have like a whole body suit and record themselves on a camera, and just the suit, it's like they do in movies. It's recording the
Yeah.
movements and transferring it to a virtual avatar.
My assumption would be that, I mean, she wouldn't have needed to go to the filming venue or anything. She would have been in a studio somewhere. She almost certainly would have been her who filmed all of the performance and everything, and then they just would have added the
Yeah,
3D model
that's
afterwards.
how I
I
would
think
imagine.
the stuff you said about the grain, I think is a really good point. I actually stopped it myself a few times after first seeing it and just looked at it frame by frame. And I think the way that they've put the 3D character into the video is so convincing that it
Yeah.
kind of like
Yeah,
it
those are
makes
the
you
tricks you
think.
learn how to make it fit in.
Yeah, I mean, like just everything though, the blurring, the lighting, it was all so good that it makes you almost question whether everything behind her is actually
Yeah.
real. It's like, is this all CG? I
I
mean,
was
that's how
asking
good it is.
myself,
Is that
yeah, that, yeah.
yeah, is really well done, I think, in
I
that
was look,
perspective.
I
But
was looking at the guys at the back in the orange suits, and I was kind of looking at them like, are they real? Are they like animated or whatever? For me, the part that gave it away was, like I said, they did a solo bit, and they cut the camera so many fucking times that, but the guy's hand wasn't fucking moving during the solo. I was like, ah.
it's like Liam Neeson climbing over a fence all over again.
Yeah, yeah. Oh no.
So yeah, I mean, there's little things like that that kind of give it away. But I like it. Me personally, I'm not like a massive fan of this type of animation. I find it very, very choppy. And this is the kind of spectrum of VTuber stuff that I personally can't really connect with. I get the whole model and stuff like that, but I'd rather it just be a person, personally.
Yeah.
I,
I would
I,
I have to agree with you that I would say out of the three things we saw today, we will talk
Mm.
about the other ones, but this one was the most, yeah, weird feeling, like uncanny feeling, because it's just that blend of, yeah, you have a real setting and then that weird 3D
Yeah,
model in
yeah.
there.
the
For as
eyes are
good,
very bright as
but
well, which
yeah,
is a little bit
for
yeah.
as good as it looked, it still felt cheap, if that makes sense. It still felt like the quality was lacking, even though it looks like amazing. I mean, we can still appreciate it. But let's be honest. I mean, again, we're not going to touch on it just yet. But compared to the other two, this is like
The bottom
miles
one of the
below the bottom
so
one by quite a bit.
te so technical tier, you'd probably say it's very technically impressive, but you just didn't feel it worked as a visual
For me,
representation of the
yeah,
Not
scene.
yeah,
as
for me,
well as the others, at
not as
least.
well, not as well as the
I
others.
I
I
will
mean, we
just throw
can
a bit.
maybe touch on the third one because I think it has a similar
Well,
style about the avatars, but it's
I
just, it
just
fits better with the background.
I just want to add a little bit of context maybe to this because I don't know this for certain, but my feeling is a lot of the VTubers from Hololive, I believe, were playing that Backrooms video game. And I think that's what this is parodying because it's got like
Mm.
the people in the hazmat suits, it's grainy, it's like
Mm.
this weird empty space. I think this is kind of like a Backrooms parody, if I'm honest with you.
Like,
I
was
don't
it
have
like
that confirmed, but it's
SCP or whatever, or whatever
yeah,
it
that
was.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of thing. You know, it's like alternate reality where you walk in, it's just lots of empty rooms and nothing forever. It's
I mean,
creepy,
maybe
but it's
that's,
also
yeah, maybe it's an interesting part. I'm not sure how much you know about the background, but how much budget is involved in this? Because I could imagine, you could still do the reference to that game, but do everything 3D animated.
yeah.
But that's probably more expensive.
My feeling would be sort of I've seen a lot of things about the budgeting actually. Even today, actually, I was looking at something that someone sent me about the way that they budget these things. Um, I don't think the budgets are massive, but this is one of those videos where I look at it and I think there's two ways this could be achieved. This either could be achieved with a lot of budget, or just you've got very skilled people who know how to do it.
That's
And I
kind of
get the
how it
feeling,
felt to me. Like there's someone who really
yeah,
knows what he's doing, but he has
yeah.
limited budget.
This looked to me more like it was a case of like it was not a huge amount of money. It's just like the right people were called and they knew what they
Mm.
wanted to do and they did it. Um, because once you've got the 3D model, you just have to do the mocap, and then once you've got like the setting, you just need a bunch of people in hazmat suits to play, and then the rest is just editing work. What did you think of the song? Did the song
I
stand out for you, or did
really
it
loved
work
the
for you?
song though. Yeah, the song
Oh,
itself
okay.
was amazing. This was an original song by her, right?
These
Or
are all originals, yeah.
original
All
song.
three that you've listened
Oh,
to today are originals.
I was really impressed by that. I
so
got
really
admit.
written by herself.
I don't think that they're necessarily written by the artist. I think it's original
Okay.
as in it's written for them.
Oh,
I know that
okay.
they have input,
I wouldn't
but
call that original then.
well, hold
Well,
up. So
okay,
you're
okay,
saying,
it's
are you
it's an
saying that
original, but it's
Necky's
not
songs are not
like
all originals?
Benedict
yeah,
showing his
yeah, yeah.
elitist roots right
You got to
now.
be
Exactly.
careful about that. You got to be careful. There's a lot
No,
of singers.
it is original, you are right.
Adol's music
But
is not original, eh?
when someone says like this is an original song from artist X, I'm in my head thinking, okay,
Yeah.
person X wrote this song, but
The
that's not the
Fox
case.
God called. He
Yeah,
wants
but
that first baby
I
metal
mean,
album back.
oh yes, it's a good point.
I corrected
It's a
myself.
good
It is original.
point. It's, you can't erase tattoos, Benedict. You've got to be careful what you say about Bayfront. Yeah, no, but I get your point. But I mean, yeah. So these songs are all written for the artist. The artists are performing songs that are written for them. I believe they have input. How much, I'm sure, very much depends on the actual person, and
Mm.
But yeah, they're effectively the stars, and the songs are created around them. So you enjoyed this song, Benedict. Did this one because I know you usually lean towards metal, but you also like a
Yeah.
wide range.
I
So I
would
wonder how
say
you felt about
actually
this.
everything I saw from these VTuber artists, I like more than like the standard J-pop. I don't
Really?
know. There's
That's
something
interesting.
about it. I don't know. Maybe it's because they also play a lot of video games, and I think some of that video gaminess sips into the music a little bit. With little electronic lines and synths. I
I
think
think
to me
I think
that
there's
makes it stand out.
I think there's a crossover, not entirely, but there's a very big Venn diagram crossover between VTube music and what I think you'd refer to as the Vocaloid writers. So these are the writers who basically were writing songs entirely like home bedroom recording, and then wouldn't even use a singer. They'd just get like a Vocaloid voice, Hatsune Miku style things. I recently spent a lot of time working around and talking in the space of Roulier, who is a upcoming award-winning songwriter who does exactly that. A lot of her songs are done through the Hatsune Miku voice, and I think there's so much talent in that space. Amazing songwriters who they don't work with musicians most of the time. They just do. They create all the sounds. They have all the sound banks. They have all the instrument recordings. They have the Vocaloid, and they can just produce on their computer at home. And I think there's a big crossover between them and a lot of the VTube music because some of the stuff they write, it has to come from the mind of someone who clearly is writing without any limitations. They're just like, I want this, and they write
That's
that.
kind of why I would like to know, is it the producer then approaching the VTube artist, and then yeah, I don't know, how does it work? Or is the VTube artist saying, I want to make music and looking for a producer? Um,
I
yeah,
th I
not
think
really
it's
sure.
standard that most of the VTubers appear to at least dabble with music, and depending on how good it works for them, they continue. I think that goes into the same realm as pop, though, in that there is not a system. There'll be some times where they'll want to do a song and they'll approach the right writer. There'll be other times when they've just got a writer who approaches them with the song. I'm sure that it's a mixture of both. So I
Yeah.
would say it's just the general melting pot of talent is probably how that comes up.
Would you
And
say
talking
it's not due to their presence as a VTuber on YouTube, not doing music, but just having a online following that they then that allows them to go into more musical directions?
I think it's a lot like I would actually compare it a lot to idols. It's not the same thing, but there's a similarity in that idols, a lot of the content idols produces things like blogs, social media posts. It's their personality.
Yeah, yeah.
But we all, if you just say idol, you think of singing and dancing on stage. It's the way your mind goes. And I think there is a sort of assumption that there is a performance musical aspect to it. But with VTubers, I think that because they're not, their look is not dictated by the group. Their look is more of a personal thing, and their personality is a little bit more personalized. I suspect that whether they continue with music is more of a choice. But yeah,
to me, it's interesting that you compare two idols because I can totally see it. But also, isn't VTuber, like the concept of a VTuber, exactly the opposite? That you kind of hide your real personality?
Well, I mean, as you've probably known about like the things with AK-48 where they can't have boyfriends and stuff, I think there's a certain degree of hiding or restricting certain parts of your life anyway. I think in any case, what you're doing is it's not so much the hiding as you are presenting something that is in line with that. So, if you're in an idol group, you have to present the look that is in line with the image of the group. If you're a VTuber, you have to present a look which will give you whatever kind of like following and matches whatever personality you're trying to set up for yourself. So I suspect that is the similarity is more in what the end goal is rather than. But yeah, there is you're right. There's a opposite way of doing the same thing, I think is the way I'd describe it.
Yeah.
I did want to bring you on therefore to the second song, which so it's the Suisei one. And going into this, we thought that Benedikt would have heard this. Turns out Benedikt hadn't heard it, but Neon actually had.
Not on the album I listened to.
Yeah, this really surprised me. So it turns out Neon did actually know this song.
I know.
So guys, thoughts on this one?
I really, like I said, I'll take the first one. I really enjoyed this one. I actually said this one when I did a reaction to it, which is probably up on the channel somewhere. So yeah, go and shameless plug, go and watch that. But I was very impressed with it from the minute off. You know what? It's funny because even though I reacted to this, I had absolutely no idea that this was a VTuber thing. I just thought it was just a normal musician that's just done a kind of cool concept video of the animation over a normal music video.
Same when I first saw it as well. For both of these first two videos, when I first saw them, I had no idea it was a VTuber thing.
Yeah, I didn't as well until you just told me, like literally freaking 30 minutes ago. I was like, I had no freaking idea. So I think that's like shows the quality of the music and the music video itself, actually, to be honest, that I didn't even bat an eyelid that I thought that was a VTuber thing. This went in a completely different opposite direction. And I gotta say, I really like the animation style of this, of having like that hand drawn style over like real life. I mean, it's been done a million times, but it's just one of those kind of like techniques that if you can do it well, like as a person who enjoys like anime and hand drawn stuff, like if it's done well and it comes across nice, it's beautiful to look at. It really is. Yes. Like as an artistic stylistic choice, it's fantastic. And I really like this one because, like, you know, the woman's features are exaggerated. Got that shocked face, the dance as well. But I like the effect they incorporated it over like a real body, and then they morphed it from real bodies and animated some things, and it went off. I really like it. And yeah, I had no idea off the quality that this was just a VTuber thing. I actually thought this was an official music video done really well. The song's absolutely incredible, by the way, really catchy. It's been a while since I listened to it, and I actually, like 2 seconds into it, I was like, I forgot how good this is.
It was, just so you know, I mean, you might have noticed that views wise, it massively outstrips the others. I think it's on like 150 million views or something. It was like a hugely viral song in Japan, especially.
Yeah.
That song was
Okay.
massive. I would say of the artists who we're talking about here, she is I would say she's the most famous, and songs like this are a big part of why. But I would also,
I don't know
sorry,
how much you know of
sorry.
Suisei, but what would you say is the standout for this song? Because it didn't really sound like hugely different from other Suisei stuff I heard.
I suspect it's a mixture of several things. I mean, lyrically, it's probably got a bit of punch to it as well. But I would say the
Okay.
main thing is that visually, the video does go a long way to giving it a viral quality, because the video is so effective. I think, like the first one, I think it's one of those ones where it doesn't look like it really needed to cost much. It just needed the right people with artistic vision. But I think the other thing as well is it's got like one of those very much current contemporary pop funk kind of vibes to the beat. You know, the sound is definitely the kind of thing that would be considered current. And then you add that to the bibbidi bobbidi boo, bibbidi bobbidi boo, and you're going to get something which people you're going to get something which people are going to do like TikTok videos for. It's going to be something that's going to stuck in people's head. It's just got the right vibe in every single aspect to be viral quality.
I think as well, like comparing it to the first one, as good as the first music video was, like we said, it kind of like lacked that quality, that little bit of a sheen. I think for like I said, it fooled Benedikt, it fooled Howard, it fooled me when we first watched it the first time, not even to bat an eyelid that we thought this was a VTuber thing. And I think that goes a long way into this, anybody watching it, like as a casual watching this as well.
Yeah, you know, if I hadn't known this is Suisei, I wouldn't have expected it to be a VTuber as well, because usually she has also that kind of 3D avatar style and not this hand-drawn one. But I personally prefer this one a lot more.
I like the hand-drawn stuff as well. I think it's really good. I think the quality of this video kind of like sticks in your mind a little bit more.
Yeah, but it's like Howard said, it doesn't seem like there's a huge budget behind this. It's actually quite a simple video, but just executed nicely.
And again, I think this goes to what I was saying about the fact that I think there is an incredible artistic quality behind the things we're seeing coming out of. I should point out, all three of these videos are a product of that Hololive agency. All of them are under that agency, which is the biggest one. So kind of like it's associated with the higher quality that's somewhat diametrically opposite from all the negative things we were talking about at the beginning that maybe we perceive when we think about VTubers. So when we look at stuff like this, again, and I think also the fact that we've got a video that's 3D, one which is drawn, and then one which is a little bit nearer to, if you like, traditional style VTube content. And I think that having the fact that they're willing to dabble with these artistic styles means that they're able to still be VTubers, you know, animated characters, but cross over into an artistic territory where it's digestible for people from who just generally listen to music and don't really care where you're from. They just want to hear like, oh, what's your cool thing that you got? So you guys enjoyed that song. You definitely enjoyed the video by the look of it.
Yeah,
both. Yeah,
both. Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to possibly my favorite thing of the year so far. This is like batting pretty heavy to be my song and video of the year for 2025 thus far. So Sakura Miko and KORONE with well, you saw it. Opinions on this?
I mean, this was everything that pops into my head when I think of a VTuber song. This is like chaotic, like 300 beats per minute, like cute, wacky, everything's going off about a million things at once. Animated girls, just everything's there, and it's just like high pitched
Cutesy
voices,
voices.
cutesy voices, everything is there. Like when I think of VTuber stuff, this is kind of where my head kind of goes to. Um,
Interesting.
and this was really well executed, actually. I really enjoyed this one. And probably out of the three, I would say this one was the most surprising to me and probably the one I enjoyed the most. Um, just because of just like everything. I love the effort that went into the music video. I love the little Easter eggs. I love the humor in it. Like I said, the animation style itself, it takes inspiration from that what a lot of VTubers do now, that
Cell shading, I
that
think.
that Genshin Impact cell shaded kind of
Yeah,
like art style. That seems to be really popular thing, like Fortnite-ish kind of things as well. And
It does look like the 3D models that they use in their normal videos. I mean, obviously there's a little bit of prep work, but it basically looks like it could be that.
yeah, I mean that's that obviously that. I mean, I'm not particularly too into that. I think I'm a generation, unfortunately, older than probably most that would be into the Genshin Fortnite thing. But obviously, that's extremely popular and synonymous worldwide now.
At
With
the end of this
everybody.
video, we'll just leave on our walking frames.
Yeah. It's like, all right, guys, we've recorded.
To the
Oh,
east.
my back.
We're out of here. Oh, my back.
Oh man.
My match.
Wait.
mean-
I've heard that song before. Don't follow through.
I have to agree with Neon. I have to also say this is probably my favorite of the three. Just song-wise, the song is so much fun, and the video is like crazy.
I was kind of intrigued how you guys would feel in that the very first frame is a obviously very cel-shaded CGI guitar. The hand doesn't even touch it, and then you get like this guitar bent note, which is clearly like MIDI. Wow. I was like, this is going to put them off so badly.
I guess I'm used
this
enough,
is going to put them off
so it
so
doesn't
bad.
bother me.
So one thing
But I
I
mean,
can say,
to me, that kind of makes a bit of the flair of VTuber. That it's not perfect. It's kind of has a bit of that jankiness to it, like
I
in
actually
a video
agree.
game that
I
isn't perfect.
but
I agree.
I love how they use the jankiness of it not being perfect in this music video
Yeah.
to like make it humorous to take
Exactly.
that and
Yeah, sometimes you have the model sometimes at the side like glitching out or something, and they just leave it in. I think that totally adds to the flavor.
So I have since I first saw this, and when I first saw this, I knew very little about it. And this was one of the videos that really got me interested in following a lot of feedback. And I have since found so many other things that I can tell you, like every frame of this has not one, but just like ridiculous numbers of references to things.
yes.
I mean, it's quite
There's always
jaw-dropping
something in
how
the
much
background.
attention.
That's what really grabbed me here. Sorry to interrupt.
Well, I was going to ask what references you maybe spotted, because obviously some of it's Western, some of it's Japanese.
Well, for me, it was the humor. It was everything that the amount of effort that they put into this. What I was going to say was like when I dabbled in VTuber stuff, which isn't very much. Like the usual thing is they're on a stage. You've got the glow sticks that are going up and down, but with no hands, and it's just 4 minutes of. It's just 4 minutes of them on the stage, which is nice, but I'm like for me that doesn't appeal to me to watch. I know
It's a bit uncanny valley, doesn't it?
Well, it just gets a bit boring, to be honest, because there's only so many ways you can cut the camera to the same animation with the hands just doing that. So I loved the effort, the dedication, the love that went into this one, and you can tell frame by frame that they had so much fun with it, so much love was poured into it, and that kind of comes off the screen as well than just like an average VTuber thing where it's just the model doing that. Like it's the effort that's put into it. I understand that not every VTuber could do that. Not everybody has that budget. Not everybody has that time, the effort, the skill to do it. So I understand that you need to start from somewhere and stuff. But like the quality, the golfing quality from this to like some of the things I've seen, like it's huge, you know. Not to discredit all the other people, but it's like the quality is just like.
I would say that whereas the first two had a deep artistic, like a level of effort went into them, this one, yeah, it obviously is artistically very cool, but it's the attention to detail in this that blows me away. It's like there's not anything particularly outlandishly artistic about the way it's presented. It's just a very well made video, but the amount of detail that went. So, for example, you know that bit at the end where you get the interstellar bit and they push the book through.
Yeah.
If you go back to that point in the video, it's a very quick cut, but you see the book fall. It's like it's in there. They've like included that. You go back and you watch the beginning of the video, it's in there. As she's doing it, cuts through, the book falls and it cuts back, and you wouldn't notice that otherwise. And there's every frame in there is a detail.
Yeah, I mean, this is so hyperactive. This was made for and by people with so many tisms. It's unbelievable. And
it reminded me of I Live Dopa's
I appreciate
videos.
it.
Sorry, it reminds you of what?
I Live Dopa. I'm not sure if you have checked out that group. They have like insane AI videos. It's just also insanity in every frame. Kind of reminded me of that a little bit. But can you tell me what is that movie called? It's that where they go to the asteroid and blow it up.
Yeah,
and Not Deep Impact.
So
it's the other one.
Armageddon.
Armageddon.
Reference,
Yes. With Bruce
I was
Willis,
really surprised that they're referencing like a Michael Bay movie from like the late 90s.
Yeah,
that's like
I was like, it's a lot of references.
That movie
kind
is
of
iconic, though. Come on.
And then they got like Back to the Future references from like the 80s and stuff.
Also, there's also like a kaiju, a short scene, the two kaijus.
And those kaijus in themselves are references to other things from Hololive.
As a baby metal fan, I got way more joy like seeing a DeLorean than the Back to the Future reference. I was just like, it's a DeLorean.
Wait, what's this got to do with baby metal?
Yeah, I was wondering as well.
Yeah, what's the baby?
You guys don't know about the baby metal DeLorean references?
No,
clearly not.
No, oh, crazy!
Quick, hold up your tattoo, Benedikt. Just maintain your.
There's a clip going on. I can't remember if it was Sue. I can't remember if it was Sue or Yui. But they were talking about cars and stuff like that, and there was a DeLorean reference. To be fair, it was a couple of years ago that I found the DeLorean reference. So I'm actually kind of.
He's thinking of a beer.
I know. I've actually half forgotten it. So if somebody can remember the baby metal DeLorean reference, let me know down below. This was back when I was doing like when they were really young, and I got the Moa hamburger and the frog references as well. This is all really obscure stuff like I did like a couple of years ago. So yes, somebody's gonna know what I'm talking about.
When you Google baby metal DeLorean, there is a lot of stuff that comes up. So okay, and that's a thing. Okay,
but it is get into that rabbit hole.
It is a thing.
So yeah, I have to say, like for me, as someone who I think the thing that for me I most love with anything, and this comes from unsigned artists all the way up, and I think this comes from creating music as well. So I suspect you two as creators as well will know this. There's something when you listen to something and you just feel you left no stones unturned. It's like you could have finished this at any point, but you kept on adding stuff. You kept on creating. You kept on pouring more love into this project. That is what really strikes me about kind of all three of these music videos. And I really think in a way that's something that for what could basically be like VTubers, the image is, okay, this is just like something where people get money by streaming with their faces covered by a character and they're probably fake. And we think, oh, and then if you find out about
different gender.
Yeah, and then they all work for some big agency like Hololive, which is just some big idol agency. And all the way along, it's so easy to think this stuff should probably just soulless. It's not real music, blah, blah, blah. And then I got to be honest, my takeaway from these three songs is like, there's so much creativity and love in this stuff that I'm actually just really impressed from a purely creative standpoint at these three.
Also, just the music is surprisingly good.
Yeah, I think like with any kind of like art thing or style of music, there's going to be a lot of like top tier amazing thing. The problem that I think puts me off VTube stuff quite a bit is like there's a lot to shift through, and there's a lot
of the shit as well.
Yeah, and there's a lot. Yeah, well there you go. Yeah, there's a lot of shit as well. Not all of them are as golden as the three we watched today. So
It
yeah,
is true. I did pick out the ones that I thought would be best, but I've got to be honest. I've only been sort of like following this rabbit hole for less than a month now. And yeah, I didn't struggle to find these three songs. Admittedly, I think I've mostly been concentrating my interest on like Hololive, but Hololive is such a huge thing anyway that I mean, they basically seem to have invented what we see now. In the same way that if you go to idol groups, you have like your AKB and then you have like your HKT, and there's all of these, and they're basically all under the same heading, and that's most of your idol groups.
yeah.
I suspect there's a similar thing. So,
I
um,
I think VTubers as well. I think they came at the right time. This is definitely probably maybe for a generation younger than ourselves. I think it came at a good time
hey,
where computer graphics enable anybody at home these days to be able to do something like this of varying degrees of quality. So it's just right time, right place, right people, I think. And yeah, it's not going to go away now. It's going to be a thing. And like Howard said, the show today, there's some amazing quality, and I reckon there'll be continue to be amazing quality for years to come, for sure.
what
Can
I
I
want
ask
to
you about one aspect that I think might fall off through that VTuber thing is like live
okay, yeah.
performances. Because how do you do that? I mean,
Well,
obviously, if you have a insane budget like Hatsune Miku stuff, then you could do like
Yeah, but not
this
everybody's.
hologram
Yeah,
thing. But
so
I
not.
don't think any one of these
I've
girls has the money.
Okay, so I'm going to draw three replies to that. I'll do this as quickly as I can. First of all, this is all through Hololive, and Hololive have shows where they do it like Hatsune Miku. And to be honest,
Okay,
although Hatsune Miku is more prevalent, Hololive I think is a much more heavily budgeted thing than Hatsune Miku. I mean, Hololive is huge now, so they have like shows like that, and they get huge amounts of people in. Second of all, they do the online VR lives, and thanks to one of my people, I've actually been to an online 3D virtual reality live show. That was for P. Marusama, who's not actually part of this, but she's quite famous in her own right. I went to a P. Marusama live show, thanks to Yiv for that. And then the other one as well, and this is really interesting. Now, I didn't get a
but I
chance to go
mean,
to.
it's not really a live show, it's a live stream. Let's be
Yeah,
honest.
yes, but she is performing live and it's live mocap and
Yes,
you do that.
but it's
Okay,
still
so
like a 3D
yeah,
room
but you
where she's
but
in her
your
3D avatar.
your answer was to how live can work, and so that's
Yeah,
kind of what I'm addressing. And
but
the other one,
yeah,
and this
I'm not
well,
sure if I could compare.
this is the other one I wanted to bring in because this I think is really important. Now, I didn't get to go to this show, but I'm trying to organize to go to this sometime soon. Livehouse. There are actually VTuber concerts in local live houses in Tokyo. We're talking about a live house that gets like 150, 200 people in. A
We're,
screen
we're,
comes
we're
up
going to that, by
and
the way.
it's projected. Yeah, well, this is one thing I was going to say. So me and Neon are going to try and
I'm
do
like,
that.
I'm straight away. As soon as you see that, I'm like, I am interested. Sign me up.
You talk about the
On
budget,
the
and
list.
it's very fair to say that although there is a big budget issue, the technology is so cheap now that you're getting this in live houses, like normal live houses where you stand by the bar and watch a VTuber show projected on the screen, holograph. It
I
is
mean, I can see that
quite
more
amazing.
than just watching a live stream from my home because there's no
But
live flavor.
yeah, but I think this is the generation thing again, because like when I was in that, there was lots of other people. They're all on their mics or on their headsets. You can hear the other people talking in the room. You can see them moving around and jumping. Admittedly, when they move around and jump, they're just hitting, spamming the space key, but it's still a physical movement. It's like, it is quite interesting that this is something that alongside all the other stuff, the actual live shows and the small live house shows, this is something that does have its own presence. And you mentioned as well, and this is where I wanted to segue. We've only got 6.5 minutes on the free version of Zoom left,
We're not
but
worthy.
you mentioned earlier about Ado,
Yeah,
and
I want
that
to
is
ask.
obviously an interesting parallel because Ado is not a VTuber, but she very much was at pretty much at the same time Hololive broke out. Was around, well, probably a little bit before actually Hololive came out, but she was doing the whole thing with she is not a person, she's just an animated face a lot of the time.
Well,
So
when she
Yeah,
does a live
but
show, she's actually there in person, even though you can't
yeah,
see her. So that does
yeah.
add a little bit of something. But even I watched the Ado
yeah,
show actually
interesting.
the other day, and as much as I really really enjoyed it, it does lack that little bit of what Benedict's probably alluding to, that live interaction, be able to see the smiles, to be
But
able to
I
see.
was more referencing
let's
like having other people around during
let,
that show.
but let's make this really direct then. If we are just talking about the live shows, which they both can be.
Yeah, yeah.
So with Ado, it's a silhouette. It's a person, but it's a silhouette. If you go to one of these VTuber shows, it is an animated character, but the animated character, once again, is the actual physical movements of the person, and it's also capturing their facial expressions. So you're getting, technically speaking, you could argue that you might be getting more of the person there.
Mm,
I don't know how I would feel about that, but I feel in the way it's
yeah,
a fair argument to say that maybe you're getting more from a VTuber show with the animated
yeah,
character than you would be from a
Well,
silhouette.
yeah. Well,
yeah.
maybe I'm not sure more, but I would call it equally. This that wouldn't make a huge difference to me. But what would make a difference is like just having a headset on and sitting in my room, or being at a
Yeah,
venue where other people are at.
yeah. I
That's
mean,
the
look,
main
again, that
difference.
that 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 wasn't really the case that I was so much fighting there, but I did want to present that
Yeah,
because you
yeah.
you were
Yeah.
talking about the future proofing of this, and I think from a future proofing aspect, there are going to be a lot of people who are going to be okay with that. Sorry,
Benedict's
you
just
know.
aged like 30 years, in front of me. Like, back
He's the
in,
youngest
yeah,
one
back
here.
in my generation.
I just want to be, I just want to be clear. I'm the oldest. Benedict's the youngest. And I just want to say, like, from a perspective, I'm probably coming off pretty well for a change. I usually come off as the bad guy in these videos, not because
Back in my day, we had actual musicians on
Yeah, back in the
stage.
day, everything was better.
Jesus
Da, da,
Christ.
da, 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 da.
But also,
Oh,
what I wanted to say about Ado is I find her to be more. Why I don't think of her really as a VTube artist is because she always uses something different. Like all of her videos, she has like a different art style, a different
Yeah.
type of animation. It's never really the same. Like this is her avatar. You cannot really say that for
It's
Ado.
not really her. It's just that's the animation
Yeah,
for this story.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
the one thing that made me take Ado seriously, or what separated Ado from pretty much everybody else, probably ahead of her time, is just again the quality of everything she did at that particular time. Her animation was better than most. The song quality that she was doing was better than most, and that really propelled her to a point now where, like I said, we get live performances. Now she has the money and the backing and the financial power to do pretty much whatever she wants. Which, let's be honest, 98% or 99% of VTubers don't have. It's very hard to
Yeah.
bridge that gap to do that, to make that next step for a lot of these artists. So what they do already with the budget that they have and the manpower and just the will and for the love of it is tremendous. It should be applauded.
All right. So final thoughts in our last 2 minutes and 45 seconds. Has this in any way changed your opinion on what VTubers and VTuber music is?
Well, it hasn't
Yes.
really changed. For me, it hasn't really changed, but I already know it was great before. It reminded me of how good the music actually is and that I should probably check out more VTubers.
Has it expanded what you expect they do? Because I mean, there were certain things that I think you admitted were surprises as well. Has it expanded your expectations?
It's just for me purely the quality. Like all three
Hmm.
videos have like amazing quality. I admittedly, when I first did start doing VTuber stuff, again, it was a couple of years ago, probably about 3-4 years ago when I kind of dabbled in it. And I think the quality probably since then has definitely improved
But
quite a
like
lot.
me, did you not really know it was VTuber stuff when you were watching it half the time?
No, it was blatantly obvious back then.
Okay.
Like
Fair enough.
it wasn't anywhere near as good as those three videos we just watched now. So yeah, it was basically
Everyone's doing the robot. It's like, why is it
Glitching left and right.
yeah.
No, but I'm positively surprised about the Suisei song actually, because all I knew before was that 3D stuff, and now she actually has some more artistic with that drawn art style, which I think is a huge step up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think kind of like going back to what Benedict said before. I think with the VTuber stuff, I think for a lot of people, and me as well personally, I always like that connection with a person. I
Mm.
like the art and I like VTuber stuff. If I'm going to support even if it's a character or fictional character, I'd like to know the people behind that creation so I can support them. And even if it's a detachment,
I think you get that from their streams and their videos a lot of the time. Yeah.
So
that's kind of where
there's that as well. So like I always like,
you know, people already married fictional characters.
Wow.
Let's not go down that. That's a whole nother video. There's people who've married inanimate objects, so let's just not go down.
Well, okay.
All right. Well, anyway, I think this has been a really interesting step into a world that I think in varying levels we didn't have a huge amount of knowledge of, but we kind of all had our preconceptions and our first thoughts. So anyway, get in the comments, tell us what you thought about this. Hopefully you enjoyed this. And if you're new to this channel, please remember to like and subscribe. And until we hopefully see you very soon, get in the comments, tell us what you think, and keep your ears to the east. Nice.